Hello everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Now, today's video has got nothing to do with like anxiety, but it does have like the title of why I do not trust the doctors, I don't trust the nurses. Now, obviously, I have really bad health anxiety, so of course, you know, it is a very like common thing for people because usually they would not see a doctor if they feel unwell or if there's like something a bit odd with them that they freak out about, but they're too scared to see a GP or a doctor or a nurse or anybody. So I don't even want to talk about this whatsoever, but I feel like I'm going to have to some last minute because apparently this past week has been kind of like crazy. It has been very nerve-wracking, and of course it's just, you know, like made things a little bit worse and stuff. So obviously for like the past 2 years, well, nearly 2 years actually, I've been going on about, you know, like my sister, when she went for a smear test, she had it all started with like HPV, and then last year it came back as like CN1. Now this year, when she went for her colposcopy appointment, this happened the other day. They said that they found like a borderline of CIN2, which is one where they recommend the treatment to like remove the abnormal cells. I think that's what they do. And so like you know, I was really scared, thinking, oh my god, that's gonna happen, isn't it? That's gonna happen. And obviously, you know, I was anxious about it. And then when my sister called me, she told me like, this is what they said. They said that it's pretty much the same as last year, but they said that it's borderline CIN2, which means that it's not there yet. So apparently the doctors and the nurses, they can't do anything about it. So as you can tell, I completely lost it. I was screaming down the phone, I was shouting, I was swearing, because I was petrified. It was obviously, you know, like fear I was feeling. I was feeling a lot of fear and hardly any anxiety, because I mean, because apparently like when I mentioned I don't know if I even mentioned it just before I started talking about this, but apparently it was about like reacting to like previous events that was traumatic or was like extremely like heartbreaking, or just something that you would never see coming. So yeah, and obviously these are my reasons why I do not trust the doctors or anything. Let me just put the camera down a little bit. Sorry. Hopefully, yeah, that'll be a bit better. So yeah, and I had a really like, let me just tell you like the reasons why I find it so difficult to like trust them. So when I was obviously as a baby and as like a little toddler, and obviously like growing up, I was always in and out of hospitals, and it was always like to do with me. I always had doctors, I had nurses, I went hospitals all the time. And the annoying thing is that they always like told my mum that I was all right, but I always had like some sort of infection inside me that made me unwell. So obviously like most of the time I would always like stay in hospitals. So yeah, that's obviously like the main reason why. I don't know why my camera keeps doing that. I'm so sorry. Hang on a sec. Okay, that's better. So yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, that's another thing why I found it really difficult to, you know, like trust the doctors, because I mean, and I remember another time when I was a kid, I remember we had these hamsters, and obviously one of them like bit me a couple of times, and unfortunately I didn't get like the shot for it, I think, or a tinnitus shot. I didn't even have any of that. So that made me seriously unwell. And I remember like I woke up one morning and I felt really unwell. I felt very drowsy, my chest was tight, and I was coughing really badly. And my mum thought I was having like an asthma attack or something. And then like she phoned up my doctor, and then like they said, just, you know, bring me in, they'll check me over and stuff. And then we see this doctor, and she was absolutely like pathetic. Even my mum agrees with that. She always told me that she was like the useless one. And then she said like, oh, just wait till like the weather changes, it'll be all right. So she sent me home, and my coughing wasn't getting any better. So my mum was like, right, that's it, I'm taking you up to the hospital. So yeah, and they all happened on like the same day as well. So yeah, and also at the same time when I got bitten and when I was seriously unwell, I think that, I don't know if it was like the same day or if it was a different day. But I think I was off school for a few days, obviously to like recover, but I was not getting any better whatsoever. So my mom again, you know, took me up to the hospital, and then because they thought I had a chest infection, but then obviously I think that's what the doctor said. I think it's, oh, it's a chest infection, it will go away. But I wasn't getting better, so she took me up to the hospital, and then that's when they found out that I had a severe allergic reaction, which I didn't even know about until I was a lot older, probably like a few years back. And obviously that's when they gave me the tinnitus shot. I think that's what it's called. And which where I was bitten by the hamster. So yeah, that's another thing that really did like make me lose it. And also I've also like mentioned this to you so many times about when my sister lost her baby and everything. I think that was like the biggest like letdown, and like that is my main reason why I struggle to like believe that, you know, what the doctors are saying is true, and that I've got nothing to worry about and stuff like that. But, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to you in like a previous video about, you know, having a stillbirth was like the worst part, you know, of like the family and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned every little detail that happened, because I mean, like, what annoyed me so badly was that, you know, we had no idea she was pregnant until she was gone for about like 7 months, which is shocking. And then when like she went for an appointment, obviously for a scan, they said that they found something, but they don't know what it is. And then she went back the day after, and they said that they found absolutely like nothing, which was a relief. But then, and the amount of times that she kept going back and forth with the doctors, it was always like good news to bad news to good news to bad news. And then they said that he needs like a blood transfusion. So they did that, but it didn't work. So, and then they said that he might have Down syndrome, he might have a blockage, he might be deformed. And it really did wind me up, because it's like most of the time, because it's like, what kind of a doctor or a nurse are you to like, you know, question, like, I mean, not question, that's the wrong way of saying it, but like tell us that when you don't know. Like, if you knew something was wrong, you would know about it. That's what scans are for. But how can you not know? And that's what really does annoy me. And I know I shouldn't, like, you know, like judge the nurses, judge the judges, or like the midwives, the doctors and men, not the judges or judge. God, my mind is everywhere at the moment. So again, we was all petrified. And then when like she lost her baby, that was literally like a massive tragic moment, which I've mentioned so many times. It really is such a tragic loss for anyone to go through. And what annoys me is that when, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but you know, I wouldn't really like say annoyed. I think that was another wrong way of saying it. But what really like breaks me is that I'm always on TikTok, and I see so many parents like, you know, going through the exact same thing, being told that, you know, your baby's gone, like it won't live a long life, you have to let it go and stuff like that. And it's just so heartbreaking. It just shows like, geez, like how more common is it to have a healthy baby or have something wrong with it, or even have, you know, a stillbirth. It's just so awful, and it winds me up every time that, you know, when I see pictures of people, you know, posting babies and they're happy, and yet we go through this. But of course, you know, we're not the only ones. I've seen loads of people on TikTok going through this, and it's so awful. It really is absolutely awful. But yeah, I would say that was another massive reason why I struggled to trust them, because sometimes I think the fact that they don't know, well, you should know, because you've trained for about 10, 20 years just to get to this spot, and now you don't know what you're saying. And of course, you know, they made so many mistakes. They kept saying, I mean, like, they even took one look at him when he was born, and he was like, and he had absolutely like neither of those things. He was never deformed. He never had Downs. I think he had a blockage, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, no, he was never deformed and stuff like that. So yeah, and apparently the horrible thing was that they didn't know what happened, and that's just the problem. We'll never know what happened. So yeah, anyway, and then another thing, my sister gets so much bad luck with the doctors and the nurses because she had appendicitis back in 2018, and I knew what it was right away because I mean, like I woke up one morning and like she was getting ready for work and she was in pain, obviously from her right side, and like she said like, oh, it's like a stitch kind of pain. So then I asked like, well, where is it? Where is the pain? And then that's when like she showed me here, and then that's when I first thought it could be appendicitis. And I said to my mum, I think you need to get her down to the GP. I think you need to take her to the hospital, have it removed immediately. But my mum, being my mum, she's like, oh no, don't worry, it'll be fine, no worries. Until about 2 or 3 hours later, I get a call from my mum saying, I'm taking your sister up to the hospital because she might have appendicitis. I got kind of like drilled then, sorry. And that was again when I completely lost it. And I was like, I freaking told you it could be that. Are you stupid or what? And this shows, I mean, obviously I was not there, you know, like when she was going through like test after test after test, and I was like, for God's sake, it's appendicitis, can you not see the signs? And and I feel like, I hope this doesn't ban me from like YouTube or this gets immediately deleted, because I did post a video about COVID, and of course it immediately got removed because I said something wrong about it. I was questioning the authority, and I was banned for YouTube for some time. So, and I was put on a warning, so I need to be careful. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the appendix. And that's the thing with me. I seriously think us human beings, this may sound really horrible for me to say, but I think loads of people can agree on this. I seriously think we, as human beings, know a lot more than the doctors and like the nurses. I seriously think we know better. Because I knew what it was right away. I knew the symptoms. I mean, you know, you get pain in your right side, you feel sick, you got a high temperature, you're in pain, and it will just get worse and worse. It's not a kind of pain that will come and go. It just gets worse and worse from there. And they wouldn't like operate because like her temperature was like really high and she was like really hot and stuff. They had about 3 fans around her and he wasn't doing the job. And I was like constantly freaking out, like saying you need to remove it, because if it's not removed, like in the next 48 hours or 72 hours, like the latest, I reckon, then she'll be dead. And believe it or not, I mean, I don't want to like scare people, like, you know, if they go through this, but I have to tell you how bad it seriously was. Her appendicitis was like literally exploded. And they had to like remove it immediately. And it was so severe, extremely severe, that like it was so badly infected that she apparently she always says that, oh, I nearly died. And it's horrible because I mean it just shows like how serious about it was. It was infected almost like everywhere. It was just insane. And she was under like the anesthetic or like inside the operating room for about 7 hours. It was just so insane. And I keep saying to them, if you would have got it sooner, if you would have like listened to me, take my sister up to the hospital, then they would have removed it immediately. They probably would have done that and like not leave it till like another few hours. So yeah, and gosh, and like, you know, she stayed in hospital for like almost like 2 weeks. It was that bad, but you know, she recovered really well. She made a speedy recovery. Yeah, and it was terrifying because she couldn't like lift any heavy objects for a few months and stuff like that. So yeah, that again was like the worst. I mean, I would say like when she lost the baby and the appendix, it's all literally like together in one, if you know what I mean. Absolutely you know, terrible. So, and that's another thing as well, is like I'm usually on TikTok, and when people like post their kids when they say they're not feeling well, and then like, you know that they're not feeling well, they feel a little bit funny or they've got a high temperature and stuff like that, and then they go to the hospital, they go see their GP, and then they get told, oh, she's fine, you can take them home when they're in pain or they're very sick, and then it turns out to be something a lot more worse than what they said. And they always say, trust your instincts, or like, you know, trust your mother instincts. When you know something is wrong, you would know it. So yeah, that's another reason why, because I feel like, you know, even mothers out there, they definitely know their child a lot more than what the nurses and the doctors think, because when you know your child is seriously unwell, you would know it in an instinct. I mean, I'm not even a parent, but I can definitely see their true colors and like see where they're coming from. So yeah, those are my reasons why. I know there is probably like any other reasons why. I mean, the amount of times my mom ended up in hospital with anxiety attacks, I don't even want to talk about it because I'll probably start crying, and you know what I mean. But it's funny because I thought about it this morning, and I thought, I don't like hugs anymore. I really don't like hugging my mum anymore, and I've been like that for a very long time. I keep thinking to myself, geez, what, like, why? And then as I was washing up the dishes this morning, it suddenly like came to me, and I thought probably because like that time when I was witnessing it, and she was in a lot of pain, and like the paramedics were there to take her away, and she like gave me a hug and said, I will see you in a minute. But it made me feel like I'm not going to see her in a minute. I'm going to see her in God knows how long. Or like she might have to stay over in hospital. But thank God she didn't at the time. So that was quite intense. So yeah, and stuff. And I think, again, with COVID, I mean, the doctors and the nurses, like, you know, not even knowing what it was all about and stuff. And I know I shouldn't blame them. I really shouldn't blame them because, you know, they have done their best. And, you know, the NHS and everything. But it's just, I don't know if it's my health anxiety telling me this, or if it's just fear because of the recent, well, not recent, the previous events that happened, obviously in this very house. So yeah, absolutely terrifying. Like, oh my God, like literally you wouldn't see it coming. You wouldn't. So of course, you know, the other day when my sister went for a colposcopy, and the fact that it's borderline, which means, I obviously said it earlier, that, you know, they can't do anything because it's not there yet. And the thing that I did is that I also posted on my health anxiety group thing, which I totally recommend to anybody who suffers with it. It's so good. It's a very like small group, but we're all in this together. So yeah. And I had about 3 women telling me like they got theirs removed when it reached like CIN3, which is like the worst kind. And one person even said to me that it's normal to like be removed at CIN3 and stuff like that. And what again pissed me off more was that she has to come back again in like another year and not 6 months for like the treatment, which really did piss me off because again, with all like everything that she's been through, it's like, yeah, it's no wonder I'm completely losing the plot. And obviously just between us ladies, I was on a really heavy period, so yeah, I apologise for admitting that, but yeah, no, it just shows just how bad I completely lost it. But you know, they did say that come by next year it will be removed, which I hope to God they freaking will. But if not, I will freaking fight. I will be out there to get them. So yeah. Anyway, guys, my throat is getting a little bit sore now from all that talking, so I'm going to end it here. If you guys definitely relate to this video, then do let me know, and just, you know, I mean, I don't really get any comments, and it's every time that I post an anxiety video or like comfort video. So yeah, but the most raised and forgotten kids shows episode will be coming soon, because I've just thought of a really good one that I completely forgot all about, and I've still got the still got the 2 DVDs from them. So yeah, anyway, I will see you guys very soon, and hopefully next time you see me, I will be in a very better mood, be very active and very happy, because at this very moment, I have really struggled. So I haven't been smiling, I haven't been, you know, and it has been a really difficult time. So honestly, the start of this year has been so tough. I just thought maybe come by spring it'd be a lot better, but no, it's not. So oh well, see what tomorrow brings, or the next week, or the week after that. So yeah, anyway guys, I'll see you guys very soon, and take care. Bye.